Good good evening, everyone. I think we got it working. Wow, we got 12 people in here already tonight. That is awesome. Welcome to the Magical Coffee Hour, everyone. Mugs up. Hope you got your coffee or whatever your beverage of choice might be. All right, Luna, I see you are in here and definitely egging people on about the 5K challenge. Let's see. Halloween, welcome. Eduardo, welcome. Mysterious, welcome. Harry, welcome. Malango, welcome. Sakura, welcome. See? Peachy, we see you there. Welcome. Glad you made it. Bernaldus, good to see you too. Eris, good to see you. Sweetie, I am so glad you stay up to see me. I really am. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Selena, welcome. Good to see you. Rebecca, hi. Good to see you. Griff, welcome. And Jake. Well, since Luna reminded me, yes, there is a 5K challenge. If we can get the channel to 5K subs by Halloween night, we'll say November 1st morning even. So I'm going to give some wiggle room there. Then my wife gets to pick any costume that is YouTube allowed. That has to be specified. She can do my makeup, my hair. She can do whatever she wants, and I will have to do a live stream in that costume. So yeah, if we can get to that 5K subs, we will definitely be doing that stream. And you are right, Luna. We are getting very, very close to it. We are over 2,500 and was it 58? I think it was last time I looked today. Um, so yeah, it's going crazy. It's really jumping up there. Thank you, Malango. Thank you. We're playing around with different things here. We're testing to see if we can do some different things and whatnots. Um, Animal Man, welcome. Um, this is actually an interesting question, Animal Man, and I'll be honest, I do not. Largely because every time I go to work with an entity referred to as Satan, it's more of a collective. It's like Satan is more of a title that can be given to a bunch of different entities. Um, Especially when you start digging through religious lore, different names that are very much assigned to very specific entities, they all get accused of being Satan. So I actually do not. I know some people do, but so far in my research and my experience, no, I have not. Um, but that's the main reason why, is because it does seem to be more of a title associated with multiple entities as opposed to a singular entity. Thank you, Peachy. Yes, yeah, I've gotten in the habit of where Linda was kindly reading questions off for me. I keep forgetting I need to be reading questions off. Someone called me on that in the comments from Friday's stream, so I appreciate it. So the question at hand, in case I didn't state it before, Animal Man asked, "Do I see Lucifer and Satan as the same entity?" And of course, you heard my answer, which you probably guessed that question. That was pretty straightforward. Yes, today's topic. Oh Lord, people forgive me if I mispronounce this, but aphantasia and visualization. This year alone, I have gotten so many questions on the topic of aphantasia, and it is something that I had to work with a lot as a teacher over the years and working with metaphysical students. And for those of you who don't know, aphantasia is essentially a condition where a person cannot draw up a mental image in their mind on command. And this makes it very hard, especially when you look at the modern terminology in magic. We always use the term visualize this, see this. And no one ever stops to take a step back and says, well, what happens if they don't understand that? And I've seen people, they're starting to step back and try and explain what we mean by visualization, but then they still don't take that extra step back to ask, what level is your visualization on? And what happens if you fall into this category of aphantasia? Which I want to say it was originally found out roughly about in the 1800s, but no one did any research on it. And over the years, as far as I can tell, it didn't resurface again till like 2015. So good, deep scientific research that y'all know I love, it's just not there right now. But it is something we've had to tackle as magical practitioners, and we've had to work around. So the first thing is for anyone here who has it, there's an old saying in magic: if you think it, you can make it. And that is very true. So, for example, let's say you have aphantasia. One of the examples we give for visualization in order to tell someone how they visualize something is think of something you enjoy, whether it be your car, your stereo, think of a physical object and how it appears in your mind. That is how you would visualize and run with that. Well, if you have aphantasia, odds are you're going to think of that. And we're going to say me. We're going to think of my coffee pot here, which, by the way, we're drinking cold brew tonight, pumpkin spice. And you can still do that. So what you would do if you have aphantasia is you would think of that thing, and you want to pay attention to how your brain processes that information. True, you might not get an image. Some people with aphantasia will occasionally get sporadic images. Some will get none ever. So all you need to do is understand how you process that information. So just run yourself through this exercise a few times and ask yourself, when I think of this, how do I process it? And by using the word process, you're cutting out the how do I see it, which I think is the big tripping point for most people. Which is a very helpful thing. And once you know how you process it, you just run with that. And if you're still having difficulties with it, just think it. You can think because you can think to do whatever it is you're doing. If you're here in the chat room, you're obviously thinking, hey, I'm watching this video. So with magic, it's the same thing. So let's go with the Dragon's Flame ritual. In that ritual, there is visualization exercises. And it's where you visualize the rulers rising up from their element and breathing out their flame into your work area. Now, don't mistake this for an evocation. You're not evoking them. You're just calling in a minor part of their energy. But the visualization does help make that connection and bring that energy in. So let's say we are doing this ritual and we can't picture it, okay? We are imaginationally blind. All you need to do is think it. If you're actually thinking about the ritual, even if you're just thinking of the words, and you're thinking of how you would describe that visualization if you were to describe it, that is enough to create the pull, the connection that you would need to actually do that ritual. So let me ask, does anyone here have aphantasia that is comfortable raising your hand and saying me? And while you're deciding, I'm going to catch up on some of these comments here. Lauren, you know what? You're the second person today mentioned bleaching their hair. This must be hair bleaching day. But welcome to the chat. Glad you made it. Yeah, see, Griff, you've heard the same thing, and yeah, my findings seem to support it. Hey, Drew Bob, Andrew. Okay, so yes, you can do a sanctum if you have aphantasia. The reason I was asking is because I was wanting to make sure if they're here that what I'm saying makes sense to them. So we know how to handle now visualization if you're going to do a visualization like in the Dragon's Flame ritual. So, how would you do the sanctum? The sanctum, the solution for the sanctum, I did not create. A student I worked with who actually was physically blind actually created this workaround because I was working with a student who had aphantasia and we got to the sanctum issue. And she described it as a blind person moving around the house. And mind you, this is a blind person who at one time could see and now can't, um, which there's been a few blind people in my family, and it seems to go that usually if you never relied on your eyes, you adapt easier. But as she put it, you don't need to see the sanctum so much as just know, feel, and think it. So if you think it, like if you're just literally thinking of your sanctum, thinking what it might look like, um, you don't have to actually visually see any of it. You just have to be able to think of what you want, think where you'd want it. And those thoughts will seem to solidify in, well, literally a thought, not in an image. And through that, you can essentially create kind of a blacked out sanctum as if the thought created it, but everything's blacked out, so there's no actual image. Kind of like if you're in your own bedroom and you shut the lights out, there's no light source at all. The room's still there, even if you can't see it. Does that make sense? Or am I just rambling on like a fool here? I'm hoping this is making sense because this really is a tricky topic. And that's one reason I wanted to do it because I've been getting so many questions. And it's a topic I really, really feel we need to talk about in magic, even though I know a lot of people's like, well, we can't talk about it because there's not a lot of info to go in on it. There's no research, and it's almost a conversation you have to have one on one. Oh, Sakura, you said me. Okay, cool. Sakura, is everything I'm saying making sense to you, my man? And if you're not comfortable with it, you can hit me up in Discord in private messages. Totally cool with that too. Oh, so Malanga was your inspiration for your hair. Cool. Yeah, I mean, Griff, I mean, a lot of people do. And honestly, here's the irony behind it. What I've found is people with aphantasia actually have an easier time getting to higher levels of soul travel than people without it. And the reason for that is because there is a point where you have to cross out into a purely mental state. And when you cross into that purely mental state, you do lose a lot of access to visual. So a lot of the senses that we normally rely on fall away. Most people have trouble adapting to that. People with aphantasia adapt far quicker, far easier with that. So it's kind of a tricksy little irony. They tend to get an advantage if they can just get over that first hurdle, which I find actually fascinating to me. I know not everybody probably finds that fascinating, but to me, I do. But I'm weird like that. Practice. Rebecca, you say you recently just found the concept of sanctums in your practice, and you're asking, are they necessary to do certain types of magic or just recommended? Um, I don't really think they're necessary or required. They do make certain things far easier because you do get to be able to work within them. You can do rituals and magic, especially if you don't have the space, room, or the ability to do rituals or magic in your home or with your roommates and stuff like that. So they can be handy, but they are not a requirement. I do recommend them because the entire time you're using them, you're also training your arcane senses, which it does kind of give you a boost later on in your practice. Okay, Sakura, that works. That works. I just want to make sure if anyone's in here that I help as much as I can with that. So that will work. Yeah, some of them do have issues with smell and taste in the astral, which is a little interesting. I will agree. From the students I've found, that seems to be about 50-50. Um, which, if I'm remembering right, I'm at right around 7 students I've directly worked with. Um, I don't know fully all the clients I've had to work with, but so at least student wise, it seems to be coming out right around 50-50. Obviously, with 7, it's not a perfect 50 because that's not an even number, but there does seem to be some sort of at least a correlation there. But they did seem to be able to overcome it, which was kind of handy in and of itself. And you can handle smell and taste in a similar way to visualization. You can actually think of the flavor, which will kind of trigger into the arcane sense as well. Hey, Jacob, welcome. Glad you made it. You're not that late. Here it is. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, um, I probably look a little better, maybe even a little more rested. I was cheating on the way I should be eating for a while, which wasn't doing me much good, and I wasn't sleeping well. So there is that. There is that. So I am sleeping a bit better, getting a bit more rest, stuff like that. So I've had a bit more energy, bit more. And some people said there's like some darkness around my eyes and whatnot. Every time I look in the mirror, I can't find it. But I mean, that's a potentially possible. Oh, the hat's a little different. I mean, I have 2 or 3 hats. It's been a while since I broke this hat out of the closet. You'd been seeing me in the felt hats lately, so that might be it too. We can't forget the hat change. But no, no, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate y'all. It's good to know people care. Any tips on trying to find memories you erased so you can do shadow work on those things? Oh, Malanga, that's a really good question. That's a deep one too. Um, See, usually what I tell a person to do is find out where something's missing, what the blank spot is. Then I would tell them to journal around it. What do you remember the events around the hole? And from there, I would sit down and I would do a sigil specifically focusing on that hole and the memory that's missing. And then I would do a sigil meditation in order to locate that memory and reapply it. Another thing you can do is if you're good at trance and journey work, you can use that sigil to actually see if the memory is actually broken off and in the plane somewhere. Um, kind of very similar to what you would hear about soul retrieval kind of work. You can do that with memories as well. Your next option, which isn't really the easy way to do it, but if you already have access to the Akashic records in your practice, you can always go there and check it out. Even if you forgot it, it'll still be in your record. Other than that, the go-to way that I'm aware of is just do the shadow work, but that's usually not recommended because you don't know what's behind that door, and getting hit blindly by it is usually a rough go at. So I would try the other two methods of using a sigil to do it. Elizabeth, thank you. I'm glad you do. That's actually usually in my ritual room, but I've been wanting to find more use for it just because that is freaking awesome. Let's be honest here. Um, so yeah, I made sure to get some new tapestry hangers and stuff to possibly test out trying different backgrounds and stuff. Let's see. See what we got. You guys are talking about it. Oh, Sakura. Sakura, yeah, I have had students with this. We have found workarounds. And it is doable. And believe you me, I totally get your frustration. I remember one young man, the dude was in tears. I mean, the dude loved magic. And when he came to me in tears, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really do emotions well. So I really wasn't sure how to handle it. But the dude had a real problem. And we sat down. I got him a cup of coffee. I actually bought him a sandwich too. And we talked it through, and it was one of the first times I was really hit with this, and I was like, and it forced me out of my comfort zone. I'm as guilty as any other metaphysical teacher out there. We get into comfort zones of terminology, and he forced me out of that comfort zone to really think about it and go back to the real roots of why does this magic work. And thanks to him, he forced me out of my comfort zone, which made me a better teacher. And we was able to solve his problem and get him rocking and rolling. And actually, that young man's teaching magic now in Idaho. So I understand your frustration. I totally understand it. Well, hi, Ariel. I don't know if that's a misspelling or what, but hello. Uh, okay. Mysterious says that they can visualize, but only briefly, kind of like a GIF or video, so they have to keep restarting just to vanish. In these cases, what you want to do is do it like a buffering video. Just work with the skips. Just work with the skips. Go as far as you can, see what you can, and don't restart. Just pick up where you left off, or even a few seconds after. Just keep building on it, and you'll keep moving forward. Sometimes you'll just continually work with the skips. I know a lot of magicians who do that, Mysterious. And some people, they actually end up developing the ability to get a full frame. I've had at least one person actually with Aphantasia state, now I don't know how accurate their statement was, but they told me they did develop the ability to visualize somehow or other. They didn't do anything, it just started coming to them eventually, but that's not something I would bank on for Aphantasia as a whole. But if you're working with gift syndrome, you can just keep hopping and following it forward, and you'll do just fine. I know it can be frustrating at first. It really can, because who doesn't get frustrated at a buffering video? Ahoy, Wendy! Glad you made it as well. Yeah, actually, Mysterious, that's how if I get visions and stuff, they're real jumpy and just kind of switching around a lot. Yeah. Welcome, young lion. Glad you could join us. Good to have you, my man. Let's see where we're at here. Let me know how that goes, Malangle, and when you try it. And if you need more help, just hit me up on Discord. I'll be happy to help you. Hello, Midnight Leader. Good to have you. Let's see what we got. See, Harry. Well, secure. I'm catching up on some of the comments here. Secure, which have you tried for the month? The image streaming or just going with thought? Because like I said, you may not be able to overcome the aphantasia, but if you just go with the thought and you think it and you just know it's there, you're going to get the results. In Magic, this gets really hard. I know for some people because the thing is with Magic, you're going for a result. That's your big thing. So you do your rituals, you raise your energy, and you seek that result. So yeah, just like I said, I'll get with you and we can go through the thought. That's one reason guided meditation tends to work some for people with aphantasia because they can focus their thought on what's being heard, not what's being seen. Um, and oftentimes that is the kicker. So the real trick is just to do your ritual on a thought basis. Just think it through. And don't try to visualize it because when you have aphantasia and you're trying to visualize it, you will build up that frustration and it's really going to put up a block in front of you. So the key is to think it, don't see it. And when you do it that way, you're just going to knock down that barrier and you're going to cut loose and your magic's going to take off for you. I hope that makes sense. But like I said, hit me up on Discord anytime. Oh, look at that. Now the cup's empty. Now we can fill it back up. Well, Mysterious, I don't put myself as a pinnacle in nothing. Okay. Um, that's one reason I do the research and ramblings is I think it's important to show I make mistakes too. That's why I tell both my successes and my failures. Um, I hope to one day get the choppiness cut out of visions. Now, I strictly has to say with visions. With my scrying, I get a clear feed with my scrying, and I do get a clear feed with astral projection and soul travel. But random visions, mm-mm. But then again, I also don't dream. I've heard a lot of people get clear visions when they dream a lot, and I like never dream ever. So if I do dream, it's not a dream. It's actually information that's coming to me that I need to be paying attention to. I'm one of those people when I sleep, it's just darkness. It's just black. Sakura, lack of vision when working with deity. That's a good question, and that is handleable. Actually, very easy. When you call a deity and call on them, and they join you in the space that you're working in, you want to pay attention to the energy in the room. You want to feel for their presence, and you want to listen. and listen for their voice. And when I say their presence, there's always an energetic shift when an entity's there, especially a deity. And just like even when you're blindfolded, you can tell when somebody's standing in the room with you, you're kind of going to get that feeling. But they can still talk to you and they totally understand that the visualization thing might it's just not there. They totally get that. And they have no problem with it. In fact, some entities like the voodoo Loa, they're very well known for not doing physical appearances, even through evocation. Most of the time, not always, there's exceptions, but most of the time, they come down into an area just like an energetic force or blanket that fills the area. So when you're working with aphantasia, you can expect that same experience from all entities. It's like when they descend on the room, instead of taking a form that you view, they just descend on it and fill the room with their presence and their essence and their energy. Does that make sense, Sakura? Actually, a doc had my head hooked up, and they claimed I didn't dream. That they they said that was not normal. So I thought I just didn't remember 'em, but they're not sure I dream most of the time. They're certain I have to dream sometime because I'm not brain dead. But Mathis, man, good to see you. Sakura, I don't. I want to say I did a video on energy work. Um, but ooh, it would have been so long ago. I don't remember, so I'll have to double check that. And I'm actually, if I did, even if it's the video I'm thinking of, even if it is there, I'm actually wanting to do more videos on actually feeling specific energies and different techniques to do it. Um, but one of the ways that the better ways is to use the four elements so that like you can get a rock and you can actually feel the energy around the rock. You can do the same with a bowl of water and try and feel the energy around it. Now, the easiest one to get started on is obviously a candle because you can easily close your eyes and just feel where the radiant heat is. And yes, that's energy. And I know a lot of people's like, well, that's not metaphysical energy. Actually, it is. Energy is energy. So it gives you a very good concept of what you're going to be trying to feel when you move in and out from the rock and the water. And once you know what you're actually feeling for, even though it won't be as intense with the rock and the water, it's actually a really good way to start to understand feeling energy so you can start working with it. But yeah, I think I did. If I didn't, you let me know, and I'm going to check myself. Cool. I think I did. I think I did, but I get hit in the head a lot. You never know. Awesome. Cool. So there's more than just me saying it, so that's good. I appreciate y'all covering my back on that. I don't remember all the videos I do. And again, you just message me anytime. We'll work something out. We'll get you running, Sakura. I promise. All right. So we got 34 minutes on the visualization topic. If you do have questions on visualization, keep them coming. If you have other questions that you would like me to try and cover for a little bit, please do. Anyone in here who has aphantasia or visualization issues, you're not comfortable speaking up here in the live chat, by all means, jump over into the Discord and feel free to get in touch with me there. Or to email me at workingdragonmystic.com, or not .com, workingdragonmystic at gmail.com. I try to keep the topics interesting, Voodoo. I really do. Sometimes I do better than others. Most of the time, luckily, you all come in with good questions. So even if I don't have a good topic, y'all make me look good. Cloud gazing, yeah, that is right. You can actually do the old rub your hands together, get the friction going, because that's going to stir up the blood and the energy in your hands. And then you just slowly bring them together, and you're going to feel that tingling increase as the energy between them starts resonating. So that is a good way there. That's a good thing. I mean, you can do it well unless you're driving. You can go ahead and give that a try right now, Sakura. It actually works pretty well. So yeah, and energy ball is a good start. Take that same technique and that what you learn from the energy ball and start applying it to objects with energy in them. Start with the elements; they tend to be the easier. But you can literally pick up anything, like even this little coffee pot lid. It has energy to be felt. It'll take some practice, but check out the working with energy video and try the elemental trick. Okay, it's getting warm. I gotta turn this fan on. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see here. Bind rune. If you're trying to bind someone's magic, Isa is actually pretty good because that's pretty much what it does. It's about stasis. It's about, and it's also about gestation, but the stasis side of it can be used for freezing and locking things away in that ice. That would be the simple one to use. Though usually, if someone's just causing me issues, I use Thuraz. That way, basically, they get poked by the thorn every time they try to do anything to me. For breaking curses, check out last week's episode on Baneful Magic. I went over a bone spell that's actually excellent for breaking curses in that particular episode. For those wondering, Mysterious asked what was a good rune or bind rune for binding someone's magic, and how about for breaking curses? So, I'm trying to think. There is one. I'm trying to think of what it is. I want to say it's Burkano. Deals with release. Um, mm, but yeah, I want to say it's Burkano deals with release, and that release can be utilized to break curses pretty easily. Let's see, Kara. Welcome, Kara. I think you popped in. I don't remember saying hello, and I meant to. So just in case I forgot, I'm saying it now. Hello. Kara, if you're starting with magic, I actually recommend starting with meditation. Then you want to start with meditation, grounding, and shielding. Those are your first things you really want to get down solid. They will make your practice all through magic just that much easier. Um, and from there, you can go into energy work and start feeling how to work with energy and also start working with your arcane senses. And I do have videos on all these things on the channel. Check out the Magical Basics playlist. They should all be stuck in there if I haven't misplaced them. Those are definitely the best things to start building up right away. Meditation is something that honestly no magician should go without it. It is cornerstone throughout your practice. And then if you're looking for just a simple daily ritual that you could get started with, check out my video. It's in the Norse playlist called a hailing ritual. Even if you're not into Norse magic, it is a very simple ritual that can get you started as well. But those would be the things I'd focus on, Kara. Sorry. Harry wants to know, with practice, can you read things off object with energy? Yes, you can. It can be tricky. Some people they see different timelines of the energy and whatnot. So I've not met too many people who's super accurate. I wouldn't use it as, a definitive, but you can pick up a lot of information off of an object, especially if the energy is new. Newer information is going to be far more accurate, but it is possible with practice. Sakura, no, that will not be an issue with finding your guardian dragon at all. Dragons are super awesome about working around Aphantasia. In fact, there are some of the ones that have helped me the most in helping my students work around it. So, perfect example for guardian dragon. There's a guided meditation in the class and on the channel. And if you go through the guided meditation, anywhere I'm saying see this, visualize this, just mentally smack me, and instead just think it. Just think your way through the steps of that meditation. And when you get to the point of your guardian dragon, listen for the voice and allow your thoughts to come to you of what you think they would actually look like. Don't try to visualize it. Don't try to see it. Just let the thoughts come to you. Put everything in that thought basis, and you'll have no troubles at all. Can I show another baneful spell like last time? Not tonight. Not tonight. We're running a little short on time. Not tonight, but I'll try and get a few more baneful magic videos up, and maybe even do another topic or two on them. Because I know that's actually been a hot topic that a lot of people's wanted more info on. And I understand why. I do. I really do. Welcome, Hellcat. Thank you. We appreciate it. We'll do our best to have a good stream. Hey, Mooncat. Good to see you too. Yes, Jake. I will be making more videos on Norse magic. Actually, I got a video on Loki coming out Tuesday. I definitely took that video a little different direction from some of my other entity videos, but I was really proud of that particular video. So I hope you do check that out. But we do have a lot more videos on Norse magic coming out. I'm trying to get at least one a week, or not one a week, one a month if I can, because Norse magic is near and dear to my heart. It and dragon magic are the foundation of most of my work. I mean, clearly I researched all kinds of other stuff, but yeah. So you can bet we got more videos on Norse magic coming. I could be. It's weird because if I'm not looking at the runes doing a reading, I have a trouble. You know what? Actually, hold on, peeps. I have a journal right here. Me and my goofy rear end. Okay, Thuraz can actually be used to break a curse too. I forgot about that. Not only does it have that defensive act, but it actually has a destructive essence to it that is great for curse breaking. But now that we've officially found one that is excellent for breaking curses, you can use Thuraz. Let me check what I was thinking here. Now these test resistance. Now these can actually work for curse breaking as well due to its deliverance aspect. It is actually very good for curse breaking if you want something a little less destructive. And I said Burkano. Let's see how stupid I was being tonight here. Let's see. Where are you? Where are you? Yeah, liberation and release. New starts, new beginnings, release from bondage and or curses. So yeah, Burkano would also work as well. But you are correct. Nadiz would work as well. So yeah, cool. Okay, let's see. No, you won't miss it. Dragons are really great with dealing through vibration, energy, thought, and emotion. So you're still going to be able to experience that. You really are, Sakura. And I understand why you was feeling disappointed on that. I really do. So simple techniques for performing divinations. Well, let's see. Honestly, divinations is a tricky one for me because I know a lot of people say simple versions are divinations and dowra or pendulums. Me personally, I have trouble recommending those because I know how the idiomotor effect works, and I don't want to recommend something that I personally don't find reliable. That's not to say pendulums can't work because they can. So pendulums, you could give it a try. One of the easier methods of divinations to get started in is oracle cards and tarot. Most people find oracle cards a little easier because the decks are usually smaller. So there's a lot more to interpret as opposed to having to memorize a full deck of tarot cards, which can be a lot for some people. But here's another thing. If you just getting started and you know you want to do tarot anyway, start learning your tarot cards and doing divinations with only the major arcana. That gives you far, far less cards to work with, but you can get into some basic divinations that way. Oh, no problem, Car. Happy to help. Wuton wants to know would I say Hermeticism is a part of my practice in cosmology? That's actually an interesting question. Hmm. Some of their philosophies and ideals I do utilize. I do not personally view myself as a Hermetic practitioner, but I have studied a lot of the Hermetic workings and stuff, and they did inspire some of my work. So, in the fact that they did inspire, and I did use their teachings for many years in different areas. In that case, I would say yes, it's a part of my work and my practice, but I myself wouldn't view myself in my practice as hermetic, if that makes sense. As part of my cosmology, that's a harder one. Practice, yes. Cosmology, it gets harder because I'm still really shaping out my full understanding of the multiverse. And I personally think Hermeticism oversimplifies it. And I know a lot of people's heads probably just exploded with that statement. But that's not to say that I disagree with it, because the tree of life and obviously the Clifothic tree, they're things that I've worked with and am planning to continue to work with. I don't fully know how to state even how I fully understand my cosmology just yet. But yeah, the practices themselves did inspire a lot of my work, and they are some of my earlier practices where I started learning from. So in that case, they did help build me into the magician I am today. Not saying I agree with everything, but they did help shape me. So in that fact, I would have to say I'm grateful to them and um, all those who came before me. I mean, one way or the other, they helped shape me. So in that case, they are very much a part of my practice. Let's see here. And again, if you have a question and it's getting missed for any reason, we do have super chats. So for a small donation, it'll flash it up real fancy on the screen. Or if you just want to make a donation to the cause so we can get more information out and keep doing the videos. Because I am trying to get all your questions here, but it can be difficult. Young Lion wants to know how approachable is Tiamat for Baneful Magic? Never worked with her. Okay, if you want to learn Baneful Magic and you're at the point where you're ready to work with an entity like Tiamat, she's a good entity to work with. She's pretty approachable. She'll sit down, she will have a powwow, and she will teach you some stuff. Most of her lessons do not come easily. They do not. She is a chaos dragon, and she's a darn powerful one. I know people's like, well, she's not the ruler. You don't have to be a ruler of the dragons to be powerful. Tiamat deserves the respect. She is a badass. And she is very intense to work with. But that said, if you're okay in your practice working with those massively life-changing, chaotic energies, then yeah, she would be a good choice. I do not recommend her for beginners or even intermediates. I really don't. I know there's people who probably will disagree with me, but everyone I've seen who's approached Tiamat before they're ready, they drastically regretted it, and that includes me. In fact, many of the books I've seen on her actually opens with warnings. But as far as Baneful Magic goes, she's not a bad choice to work with. I am looking to potentially do a video on Fenrir at some point. How soon I can get to it, I don't know, because there are a lot of Norse videos I need to get to first. But yeah, Fenrir is on the list. No, there are not a lot of sources on Fenrir, and that's largely due to his position in the Norse. I mean, he is largely an entity of pure destruction. That's his job, and he does his job well. Naveed wants to know, have I ever seen a wyvern in the astral? Yes, I've encountered a few of them. In fact, during my Clefothic path working, I encountered a lot of them. Though I want to point out, wyverns are not counted as true dragons. They are actually a separate entity. But I have encountered quite a few of them. So, Kara, you are welcome. I am happy I was able to give you some hope there, my man. Mugs up to you. Well, we got a video coming Tuesday, Jake. So stay tuned for that. Naveed, actually, that's from the Sumerian and Babylonian perspective of creation. There's multiple entities of creation that all took part in the overall creation. And yeah, Tiamat was one of the first ones in there. But she is still younger than some of the other dragons because she's more like assigned to our realm, our area, and the multiverse is far larger and expansive than that, if that makes sense. So the mythology there is true, but it is also from a smaller multiversal viewpoint, also, if that makes sense. That's a massive topic, which is one I'm actually wanting to do because I'm wanting to do a video on Tiamat here very soon. And I'm hoping to be able to articulate that better. Jake, yeah, actually, my big tips for Jake wants to know if I have any tips for meeting deities. And my big tips for working with and meeting with deities, first off, do some research, learn a little bit about them and their lore. Secondly, then you want to start meditating on them because as you meditate on them, measure of their energy, their wisdom, and even some communication will start to come in. So it's actually a way to start working with them right away in a very light and easy to approach fashion. And then from there, start doing a very simple, like hailing ritual. And there's actually two videos on the channel, Jake, about that exact topic. One is finding an entity or deity to work with, and the other is actually approaching them or summoning them to work with. But those are honestly the ways I recommend it, and that's what I do with any entity. I do my research, then I meditate, and then I reach out to them more directly. Oh, Naveed, I read your question backwards. You said that was a question, not a. Oh, from that point of view, she is one of the first. She's not like the first entity in all of existence. So she was the first chaos dragon within the human sphere of influence to come into existence. And she is one of the creator entities. So you have multiple creators that, even though you don't necessarily see it in all the different myths, they all work together to shape what we now know as the physical plane. And her mythos that surrounded the section she shaped, that is accurate. And she is indeed that entity. Though she will also, if you work with her, she'll also point out there's some poetic licensing in the myth because clearly she ain't dead. She's still up and bouncing around and doing her thing and watching over us and handling business here. She is actually the primary chaos dragon of. I don't. I'm still trying to get a clear answer out of her on this, and that's one reason I'm really wanting to work with her again. I don't know if it's Earth or like the whole Milky Way galaxy concept. I get a feeling it's more the larger concept, not just this rock. So yeah, but she is definitely one of the first within our physical sphere that we humans know. Yep, don't piss off Tiamat. Oh, Sakura, I am glad I done this stream then because it always breaks my heart to see someone give up. Now, there's a difference in choosing to quit and giving up. There is a difference. So I am actually glad that I did this stream tonight because, yeah, that right there has just made my day. That has. We got to get a refill just so we can do a mugs up for you because that just made my day. Mugs up. Bloodline, actually, technically speaking, according to the dragons, true dragons, pure blood dragons, which are what we know as your traditional large, massive, well, we being the fools we are, call them European or Eastern body types, are the two main true dragon types, whereas wyverns Though they have dragon-like appearances or similarities, they do not have the intellect, the power, nor the ancestry. So that's the largest thing, and that's according to the dragons themselves. Um, I can actually attempt to do a video on that or even a blog post over on the website for that. I know I've not touched that blog in forever, and I apologize for that. But yeah, I will try and get a list of the differentials up there. One of the big ones is the fact that wyverns usually don't have anything but hind legs, wings, and some kind of a tail, whether it be spiked. In many cases, it even has some kind of a stinger on it. But that's a general synopsis. Wyverns do run the gamut. Okay, Wendy. Wendy wants to know, does Tiamat appear like the D&D version? No, she does not. And this is actually a question I get quite a bit. She does not have the multiple head Hydra appearance that you see in D&D. Don't get me wrong, her appearance in D&D was probably the first one I ever knew myself. But no, she does not. She mostly appears as a large European style dragon, usually very, very deep, deep gray to even full on black. But her color accents shift wildly. And the accents are usually very bright and vibrant, from a crimson red to like a fiery orange color to even just blazing like hot white accent colors. Well, Linda, I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you very much. I do my best to make sure the courses are worth it and keep them affordable. So, yes, I'd appreciate your support. And I honestly do think you'll get a lot out of them. Currently, we have the meditation course and the Dragon Magic 101. And the Dragon Magic 102 is still in filming, but if I get my way, it won't be much longer before it goes live. But Dragon Magic 101 is a pretty long course, so there's plenty to keep you busy. Well into the new year, actually. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate the shout out, man. Let's see. What else we got, if anything? Actually, Sakura, that's a great question. Yes, I would actually continue the class. Just again, anytime I say visualize, just shift it over to a thought process instead of visualization. Just think your way through the exercises. You're going to get the same effects without the imagery, and it will still help you because arcane sight is based on more than what we see, even in our mind's eye. So that course will still help you if you go through the exercises to empower your ability to process information in the way that you can, even if it's through just the thought process, if that makes sense. Yes, that's exactly it. Think of purple light. Just think of it. And the candle meditation will still work. In fact, that's actually one of the meditations many of the aphantasia students have has had the most luck with helping them through the process. Because once they were able to shift that from visualization to thinking through it, it just helped them out a lot. Okay, Mysterious asked the question, hypothetically speaking, if you were to petition a demon to force someone's will in some way, to do something in your favor or that would unbalance something so that it was in your favor, what would you expect your dragon ally's reaction to be? And that's a tricky one. That is a good one. The big kicker is if you're working with another entity and you're not involving the dragons, they're not going to involve themselves. But let's say that working backfires and you go to them and be like, here, I was playing around with this person's free will. They are going to look at you and say, suck it up, buttercup. You dug your hole. Now lie in it or fix it. They're very big on self accountability. So, yes, you can totally do that. But if it backfires on you, they're going to expect you to clean up your own mess. But that is a great question, Mysterious. Great question. Y'all keep coming up with these. Yeah, you can, instead of seeing a red triangle, you can think red triangle. Exactly. In fact, the visuals in the class actually come in real handy in that case because you can look at it and just think it. And if you want to, you can even keep your eyes open the whole process and think it, think it, think it. Get into that rhythm of thinking, 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 and then shut your eyes, but keep thinking. And you get some pretty cool results out of that, Sakura. No, they wouldn't stop or counter it. They wouldn't punish you again because you have the free will to practice as you see fit. But if it backfires in any way on you, they also would expect you to clean it up without their help. Now, if you include them in it, that gets trickier. That gets a lot trickier. Actually, Naveed wants to know what of all the other deities that took place in creation with the material realm outside Tiamat, and and what in terms of creation and maintenance of it. Naveed, you're giving me credit for being a smarter man than I am, and I appreciate the compliment. I really do. Um, I couldn't give you a full list. I couldn't. For example, I'm not big on a bunch of Hindu and Indian deities. I couldn't fill in the areas there. But when you look at the different mythologies and you find the creation myths, you can usually find the ones credited for the creation. So, for example, in Norse mythology, you have the three brothers, Odin, Vili, and Ve, all took part in the creation of the nine realms. They too took part because in that myth, they're creating the nine realms. They are part of that creation of the entirety of the physical realm, if that makes sense. Believe it or not, I know some people are not going to like this. I know not, but Yahweh played a hand in it as well. So technically, his being a creator deity is very much a part of that as well. So you really got to get in and find them all. I could not name them all if I tried. But yeah. We'd be here for the rest of the week if I tried to answer that question in full, Naveed. But that is an awesome question. I love it. Way to think out of the box. You guys are awesome. Oh, Griff, sorry I missed. Griff wants to know how I would describe Tiamat's voice. It's interesting because her voice can shift based on her mood. I have heard her voice very, very just feminine, kind of like real elegant lady is the best way I can describe it. I won't say motherly. I'm not going to say motherly. I'm going to say that elegant lady. And hopefully y'all know the difference between the two. That said, I've also heard it as very gravelly, just kind of almost bestial voice booming out of her. And many of the practitioners I've worked with, they've seen both these sides of her. And there does seem to be a bit of a spectrum in between the two there. But that's the best. I'm not good at describing voices. That would be the best way I could describe that, Griff. Let's see, Sakura, when it comes to meditation, how much do you think of that before letting the streams of thoughts come into you? Honestly, I sit down to meditate, and I'm not a very good passive meditator. I'm not, but when I do it, I just sit down and I meditate. And what I've taught many of my my students to do, especially visualization, is an issue. I tell them to think about meditating and think about thoughts coming to them. And as those thoughts come, just examine them, think about them, roll them over in your head how you would any thought. Decide if it's prudent, whether it's not, and then push it away. Just keep pushing it away. Just wax on, wax off. Just keep it going. And when you're doing focused meditation, you keep your thought on what you're focusing on. You keep thinking about the thing you're actually working on. And then more thoughts will just start randomly popping up around it without any visualization or wording. And then as to how long you do that, I generally tell people to try and build a meditation practice up to, for a beginner level, shoot for 15 minutes. These days, I try to do at least a 30-minute meditation twice a day. There's nothing wrong with going beyond 30 if you got the time. In fact, certain meditations like Bodhisattva, which is something I plan to do a video on, that takes a long time to do if you're going to do it. No, the wording was fine. You did good. At least to me. All right, listen. Oh, mugs up to you too. Voodoo. You know, I'm not big on this particular brand of pumpkin spice, but you do it as a cold brew. That sounds pretty good. Let's see here. Okay, Harry wants to know, do some gods take on other forms and are thought of as other entities that we all know of, such as Odin and Saint Nick? Now, this is a great question. I love this one personally. And if you watched my Odin video or my Yule video, I've kind of touched on this a little. And Saint Nick is an entity. Odin does take on a persona that would resemble what we know of as the modern day Santa Claus. And it also fits in with how the Norse understood the Yule season. Because Odin would lead the wild hunt out, and on his travels out and on his way back, you could kids could leave their boots out and he would fill them with gifts. So yes, Odin is well known for being a shapeshifter and taking on guises of other entities, people, or just a wanderer. That said, though, there are other entities like Saint Nick, who also have that Santa Claus-like imagery about him, and his actions also do fill that role of what we today know as Santa Claus. So actually, the Santa Claus archetype actually has multiple entities that work within that archetype and actually are responsible for the modern day version. It might have been. It might have been. Then again, you never know. Luckily, she can have a sense of humor. So for the dragon flame ritual, dot 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 dot. Are you asking how you would think your way through that, or are you asking? I'm not sure what you're asking there, Sakura. Naveed wants to know what are the most monstrous and bestial creatures I've come across in the astral. What would you classify them as, and what are all their physical features? Naveed, honestly, the most monstrous creatures that I've come across in the astral generally are primordial style entities that their form doesn't really have anything that you can get descriptive with. They're very, very primal, almost elemental like beings, where their form shifts with the element itself. So physical features is very hard to pick out, if any are there. But some of these older primordial beings get very, very massive. As far as actual bestial creatures, I've not encountered any that really bothered me too much. But then again, working with dragons, that could probably be why. But yeah, as far as monsters, it definitely be those primordial elementals, those just massive hulking elementals that are like the size of a planet. You nailed it, Sakura. See? That's exactly what you would do. You would think your way through the steps, you would speak the mantra, and you would speak the calling, but you just think your way through the rest of it, and you will get the response you need. In fact, if you want, I will actually walk you through that in voice chat on Discord sometime. Um, but I would recommend trying it yourself, just thinking yourself through it. Don't worry about visualization, just think yourself through it. And you'll notice a massive energy surge real quick. But yeah, what you just described is exactly how you would do it. It's okay, Sakura. Believe me, when it comes to technology, we all know I'm not the guy to get it right. Okay, everyone, we are past our hour for the magical coffee hour. So Tuesday, we do have a video coming out. It is on Loki. This is one I've been looking forward to. Honestly, it was a joy to reach out and get to work with him again in order to do this video. In fact, he's the one that actually said, "This is how you're doing my video. You're not doing this, you're doing this." So he had a hand in how I set this particular video up. and it was a lot of fun to do. So I hope you all enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making Tuesday's video. Also, 5K challenge. People, you all are getting us really close. Tell your friends about the channel. Check out the videos. Share the videos around. If the video can help someone who's looking for an answer or got a question about magic, share it. Again, the whole mission here is to get information out to all the seekers and all those wanting to learn. Benefit if y'all get us to 5K by Halloween or November 1st. As I said, I'm giving you the wiggle room. Well, the morning of November 1st. Then, yes, my wife gets to pick a costume that I have to do a live stream in. And yes, before Peachy asks, I will be standing up and doing a full catwalk turn, so you guys get to see the whole outfit, not just the normal Drake here at the desk view. We are still working on the Dragon Magic 102 class, and barring technical issues, we're hoping to have that out in the next month or two. But it might be first of the year with technical issues. I mean, it's been a crazy year, and it's been a storm season. Definitely been a storm season. That's been causing us some issues. But other than that, things are business as usual. As always, be sure to smash that like button. I see 23 of you have already out of 29 in here, and I appreciate it. That helps the channel out a lot. It really does. Also, once the video processes and goes live, if you remember, drop a comment just to say hi. Again, it helps the algorithm, tells YouTube that people are enjoying the content, and that helps us out. Also, if you are looking for the mugs that we have or the artwork or any of that stuff, go over to workingdragonmystic.com, click the merch tab. We got a bunch of merch on there. We got artwork of all the draconic rulers. Of course, the coffee cups. You got to have your coffee cup, people. Coffee's great. We love coffee. That's my blood type, if y'all don't know. It's dark roast. Other than that, I will see you all next week. And if you haven't already, jump into the Discord over there. Say hi. We got a great community going. And I'm in there all the time, so it'd be great to be able to sit and chat with you all there as well. Till then, everyone, you have a wonderful night and have an awesome week. Take it easy.